What's up, and welcome to week 4. We got Chew back in the house, and of course, Ryan's going to be here as well. We're going to be spinning the fantasy roulette wheel. Topics include Drake London, Malik Nabers, Travis Hunter, and a bunch more. Of course, we got the Forgotten Fantasy Player. Ryan gets to pick the Forgotten Fantasy Player tonight. I know he's super excited to do that. We've been doing this for 10 years. This will be the first time he gets to do it. And of course, we have our nonsense draft as usual. Stay tuned.
Going for 2, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for 2, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the Armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is up, and welcome to episode 432 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Geoff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeoffLambert77. I'm here with my two co-hosts tonight, Ryan Sierfoss and Chew. What's up, Ryan?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Forgotten Fantasy Player tonight.
Yes, I know. We've been doing this for 10 years. This will be the first time you get to actually pick one, right?
I know, and I didn't even go that difficult. So
Good stuff.
I'll give it like a 4 or 5.
Good
Start
deal.
easy.
And then Chew, fresh off his vacation after he just started. He's the only person I know that can go his first day and then take a vacation the very next week. What's up, Chew?
What's up? Just enjoying the assistant coaching duties of my 6-year-old son's flag football team. But thankfully, no more Wednesday games, so I am here for rest of season.
Good deal. Love it. Love it.
Taking the day off early sets a precedent. I like that.
Yeah, a little load management, if you will.
Yeah, that's Ryan's way of doing things. Ryan, when he used to commission leagues, and I would text him like, "Hey man, you got to fix this or you got to do this." He's like, "All right, I'll do it when I get to work on Monday." I'm like, "Dude, it's Saturday. Just do it right now."
It's why I don't commission, dude. I hate it so much.
Yeah. All right. As always, you can follow us on the Going for Two Live network on YouTube. Of course, we're on all major podcast networks, and you can find all of those links over at goingfor2.com. You can find Ryan at Foss534. You can find Chew at Father Dynasty. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it today. Tired of long, boring drafts? Try Fast Draft, the quickest way to earn cash in under 5 minutes. Perfect for your lunch break or your coffee line. Use promo code GF2 and get 100% deposit match up to $50. Double the cash, double the action. Head to fastdraft.com. Sign up using promo code GF2 and start winning today. All right, it is time for the nonsense draft.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, so today's topic, I had told Ryan earlier today that he needed to look at this a little bit early in prep, but in pure Ryan fashion, he did not look at it, but he said pre-show that he didn't have to. He's got a bunch of answers already lined up. Tonight, we are drafting a phrase or statement that you can make that'll piss off an entire fan base. And it could be any fan base. It could be football. It could be Star Wars. It can be Harry Potter. Any fan base you want. And it doesn't have to be your opinion. If you could just pick one that would piss that fan base off, we'll go with that one. And Ryan, ironically, you get the 101 tonight. Probably the first time again that we've ever given you the 101.
I feel special tonight. Mine's a two-parter, and this is believe. I fully believe. Christian Bale is the most overrated Batman, and the Dark Knight trilogy is also overrated. If it wasn't for the Joker, they would be trash.
Ooh, that is.
I know that was a little bit more than a phrase, but I truly believe all of it.
Yeah, it's an opinion that's pretty strong for sure. Because I personally think that trilogy is the best of the trilogies.
How are the fight sequences?
I mean, I understand. I know all the knocks on it, but I don't know. Which one is better?
I didn't say it was the worst. I said it was overrated. The originals are better.
Fair enough.
I think he's the worst Batman.
Okay.
I think Ben Affleck's a better Batman.
Wow. Okay.
I think the new Batman movie is better and stronger storyline. All in. I could just have I could have all these about Batman.
This is a
I have a
Batman
bunch.
podcast.
It's a Batman podcast.
It's a Batman hate podcast.
All right, Chew, you got to follow that up with the 102.
I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to possibly upset the Italian bit of our listeners here. All pasta tastes the same.
Yes.
I said that to my wife once, and she was like, "You can't say that around our family. That's not how this works." It's like, okay.
That's hilarious. That one definitely did not cross my list for sure. I love it. All right, I'm up at the 103, and I wanted to just start off simple here, and I'm going with the sports world, and I'm going to piss off Dallas Cowboy fans and just say that Dez did, in fact, drop that pass.
Oh,
That is, I know the Dallas Cowboy fans out there don't want to hear that, but that's one phrase you bring up around Dallas Cowboys fans, and they will argue to the death on that one.
mm-hmm.
All right, Ryan, you get the 201.
Pirates of the Caribbean and Johnny Depp are also bad. And he's an overact, and he overacts.
Ryan is just tearing down all the movies tonight. I love it.
I made it through like 1.5 board.
Yeah, I like the first one. Second one was okay. The second one actually was my first date with my now wife, then girlfriend. She fell asleep halfway through. So there you go. First date, she's falling asleep. Not good. All right, Shu, you got the 202.
I'm going to go cinema here as well. And I don't agree with this, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I think it is, but.
Yes, I'm with you. I think it is too. When we had this argument, I think every Christmas on our Christmas show, we talk about Die Hard being a Christmas movie or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is definitely a good one. All right, I'm up at the 203, and let's see. I'm gonna go old school here. This might even be before your times. The game Metroid is only remembered because Samus took off her helmet at the end. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Metroid back then was a game that you played the entire time. Did not know that the character you were using was a female. At the end of the game, you beat it. She takes her helmet off. You see the long flowing hair, and that's the only reason why that game has been remembered. I don't know if I believe it or not. I like the game personally, but that was always brought up when you talk about Metroid.
Well, they kind of lived on through Super Smash Bros. Too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, 301 here. You got another movie you want to tear down?
No, I'm actually you kind of set me up perfect. I think the Nintendo Switch franchises of video games are overrated and they're not great products and overpriced.
He's just killing everything. I actually like the Nintendo Switch personally.
Do you like buying the games never go on sale?
That is true.
They try to bring games from other systems and they run like shit and still charge $70.
That is true. And there's the Mario. It's a 3-pack. I can't think of what it's called. Mario All Stars or something like that. And now you can no longer get that 3-pack. And if you wanted to get it, it's like $80.
Ooh.
Yeah, I understand that completely for sure.
There's just I don't like. It's a good idea. It's a good system. I don't like how they run the business for it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I took these far too literally on my real opinions.
All right, Chu, you got the 302.
So my last one here, the more I've heard people say this, I can kind of buy into it a little bit. The Beatles are the most overrated band.
I've heard that one, yes.
But the most seems a bit severe, but I can kind of understand where it's just, how much with Beatlemania and everything, but like kind of like being a couple decades removed, it's like, if we're looking back, was it just the nostalgia of the time, or does it kind of live beyond its years? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw one a little bit similar to that. It was the Beatles would be a cover band if they were here today.
We're lucky this show starts at 9:30, or we would lose all boomers right now.
All the boomers except for me are sleeping. All right, I'll wrap it up here. This one's a little bit outdated, but I wanted to do it because Ryan's on the podcast. Lamar Jackson is a running back playing quarterback.
See, I can't even. People don't even get mad about that anymore because it's just Dumb.
It's so wrong. Yeah, I mean, he's like, I think I saw on the broadcast the other night that he is now the highest rated quarterback in NFL history currently, which is insane to think, but he is. He has the highest, quarterback rating of anybody in history.
Nice.
We avoided the number one most anger-inducing sports take, so I'm proud of everybody.
Which would that be?
LeBron's better than Jordan.
I had that one on my
I was
list.
gonna bring that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that would have been beaten to death. I don't want to bring that one up.
Other ones, Han shot first for Star Wars. Those are the two that are just like real normal.
Yeah, I was gonna do one with Star Trek is greater than Star Wars, but my daughter might disown me if I did that on the podcast.
If you said it either way, it
Either
needs to
way,
change.
you're right.
True.
Either way, yep. All right, it's time to get into some fantasy stuff.
Let's get ready for Armchair Fantasy Roulette.
All right, per normal, we got some topics loaded into the to the roulette wheel here. We're just gonna spin and see what comes up. First topic is Drake London. So this is from Brian DeGroat at NFL Convo. He is saying trade for Drake London. Currently the wide receiver 44, averaging 10 points, but that he says he promises better days are ahead. Target percentages at 24. First read percentages at 33.8. He says the rest of the schedule gets easier from here on out. So if you can go buy him for cheap, go do it now. Chu, I'm gonna go to you first on this one. What are your thoughts on Drake London rest of the season, and do you agree with Brian here?
Completely agree. I mean, I was looking back at this point last season, so through the 3 weeks, I mean, he had 8 fewer targets, but 2 more touchdowns. Of course, he has none at this point. So to consider what he was able to do last season, this season, I think has been a tough start for the Falcons offense as a whole, really outside of Bijan. And I know they're sorting out the quarterback situation. Penix coming off of an atrocious game against what should be a terrible defense in the Carolina Panthers. But I mean, Drake London is far and away the number one target there, and whoever's at quarterback, they're going to funnel in the ball. It's going to end up being okay. The touchdowns might kind of come and go depending on how the offense is as a whole, but London's definitely a buy.
Yeah. Ryan, where do you fall with Drake London?
So I think in theory it's a great idea. I don't think you can still buy him. I think people who drafted him high aren't going to let go of him for cheap. And people who've had him aren't going to let go of him for cheap. If you can do it, awesome. But I think there's going to be some struggles this year. I don't think we're at the bottom of the value. I think the price will get cheaper.
Really? You think it'll get cheaper, not go up from here?
This offense is struggling, and there's a lot of questions. And if it doesn't improve, even if it's mediocre, and he somehow gets in the top 24, that's still going to depress his value, especially in Dynasty, just because we're so much of a what have you done recently thing for it. We're going to forget that he was, RB5 or wide receiver 5 last year.
Right.
I think even if he improves, unless it's just spectacular, which I don't see, the value's going to keep going down.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was in the boat with Chu, thinking that he's gonna rise there, but I also traded for him a bunch this offseason. So I'm kind of almost have a rooting interest for him to get better soon because I need him. Because I think as Chu said last year at this time, he wasn't that much better than he is currently. I think he had 2 more touchdowns. You said currently has 0 touchdowns, so that's definitely not hurting his value. But really, there's been some bad luck. I think in that first game, he could have had a touchdown. That's when he hurt his shoulder. He almost had that catch. He comes down with that. Maybe we're talking about him a little bit differently. Last week was just abysmal. I don't know what happened last week. 30-0. It was just ugly all around. I hope that the Falcons can figure out a way to at least generate enough offense to get Drake London involved because, like I said, I traded for him and I need him to start showing up for me. All right, let's get our next topic on the board. All right, we got a this or that.
It's time for this or that.
All right, so this one's pretty easy here. This one is, who would you rather have rest of season, Kenneth Walker or Jordan Mason? I'll go to you first, Ryan.
Probably. I'm struggling with this one.
It's tough. It's a tough question.
This one, wow, this should not be a tough question. I'm leaning towards Ken Walker. I know he's in split backfield. He's looked really good. And that team's playing really good defense and committed to running the ball. So I'm leaning there just off his upside from a game-to-game standard. But, Jordan Mason looks good, is a good option right now. I can't
Yeah.
fault you either way. Jordan Mason might have a higher floor,
Fair.
but I think the ceiling on Walker any given week is up there.
Fair enough. Where do you fall, Chew? And I forgot to mention this is from Sleeper's account here on Twitter.
I mean, looking at since Aaron Jones has gone down, I mean, Mason's snap share has not changed tremendously. I really thought it would have been more of a, we don't trust. Was it Xavier Scott's behind him, the third-year guy?
Mm-hmm.
So I really thought it would have been a bigger disparity between what that was going to look like compared to when it was Jones and Mason. But I mean, I get it with Ken Walker, and especially with Charbonnet being out this past week. I think he should be back for Thursday. But I mean, Charbonnet's just been not tremendously effective and efficient. He's just happened to got a touchdown or so to this point. But I mean, Walker's the home run threat, and as uncomfortable as I am to say it, I'm going Walker here.
Yeah,
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. Either way, I think you could make an argument for either one of these guys.
Yep.
Because I think Mason was already cutting into Aaron Jones' workload even before Aaron Jones got hurt.
Yep.
So I think when he comes back, I think Aaron Jones becomes the complement to Jordan Mason, not the other way around.
Yep.
So there is that sense that Jordan Mason can take this full-time job. But they're both kind of in a shared backfield regardless once Aaron Jones comes back, because Charbonnet is there, Aaron Jones is with Minnesota. The only thing I would say is kind of what Ryan said with Seattle is that they're committed towards the run. They are playing better defense. I'm a little worried about the Minnesota's offense, especially with McCarthy out for a little while. Can Wentz carry that team? A little worried about that. So I'm going to lean Kenneth Walker as well, but it is very, very close for sure. All right, next topic. So our boy JSN. This is probably the most. This is from Scott Barrett on Twitter. This is probably the most insane stat I've seen in a month. Jackson Smith and Najigba leads all receivers in yards per route run with 4.82. Puka Nacua is second with 4.32. And then no other receivers even close to them. They're at 2.75 is the third place receiver. So these two guys are pretty much far and away yards per route run, which we know in fantasy is an indicator of fantasy success. I'm going to go to you first, Chew, and just talk about, JSN in general, and then what do you think of the stat?
It's cartoonish having two of those guys over 4 at this point. I mean, for JSN, it's been a slow burn for his career. He's finally getting the chance to he is the guy there. It is a different quarterback this year. We were all concerned about, what Darnold are we getting at this point? Is he actually revived, or is he going to revert back to the seeing ghost Darnold that we used to know and not love? I mean, JSN, it's nothing but consistency. More or less 20 PPR points each of the first 3 games. Not all of them necessarily were even easy matchups necessarily. And I'm pretty sure he was actually battling some sort of he had a cold or something going on there in week 3. So I guess we'll call that his flu game. But this is going to be his first wide receiver 1 season, finishing in the top 12. And I think the only thing that's stopping that is injury, knock on wood. This offense is looking strong. The new OC there in Seattle, things are clipping along well, and he's clearly Darnold's number 1 target. So love what he's doing over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I will second that. I've been a JSN supporter really from his rookie season. Last year, I don't want to say I called his breakout last year, but I was all in on him last year. Had a really good season last year, and then of course going into this year, I was a big supporter of him as well. And he's doing what I kind of thought he could do. He's a target monster. He finally put up the touchdown finally in week 3. He's had I think he had the first 2 games, he had over 100. In this past game, I think he had 96. So almost 100 yards in the third game. We had a running joke on the Friday show, the DFS show. We used to have Keenan Allen used to always be on the show sheet every single week. And we just started calling him copy paste. So we just copy paste his name into the next show sheet. Well, JSN's become that guy now that Keenan Allen's getting a little bit older. He's the copy paste guy that we just literally put on every show sheet because he's just been that good consistently each week. So I love JSN. Ryan, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, I was my prediction for the year is he was going to finish in the top 5. I love JSN. I think he fit into that role where Sam Darnold fed Justin Jefferson. Kind of how he moves around a lot in the slot. Good route running, same thing. It's easy. And you say copy paste Keenan Allen, you mean wide receiver 6 Keenan Allen.
Yeah, exactly. He's still copy paste apparently. For sure. Yeah, he's been resurgent for sure. I love watching that. All
Love
right,
JSN though.
absolutely. All right, we're going to be talking about Malik Nabers, going back to Bryce DeGroat again. He is again talking about a receiver that you need to trade for now. He's talking about Malik Nabers coming off a bad 3-point game, but don't forget he put up 38 the week prior, and now Dart is taking over, he's a huge fan of. Nabers currently has the 4th most targets, and he expects him to rise. He has overall wide receiver 1 upside. Ryan, what's your thoughts on Malik Nabers with Jackson Dart now being QB?
Who is trading him away? Like, come on. That's a wild. No one's trading him away, even after a 3-point game. He's another one. He's a bona fide superstar. I think he's pretty damn QB proof. We'll probably see some growing pains with Dart. I don't know why everyone thinks he's going to jump in and immediately start slinging it right away. It might be slow for a week or two, even, but no, dude, he's an absolute monster, and he's gonna force his way to be a top 12 receiver. Like, there's no chance of buying. He's like impossible to trade for.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. I don't know if you're going to be able to move him. Maybe in some super casual leagues, like office leagues or something, where someone's a little bit down on him or thinking that this change at quarterback's going to affect him. But anybody who knows fantasy, anybody who's watching the show, should pretty much know that Malik Nabers isn't tradable at this point. What are your thoughts, Chu?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be another top 5, if not top 3 guy in targets again. That boom week in week 2 was Russell Wilson doing the one thing he's still good at, which is the deep ball, and Malik Nabers doing something he can do tremendously well with, which is tracking the deep ball, even if it's in double coverage. So I don't necessarily expect the 30 plus point games with frequency, but I do expect it to kind of level out where his floor is kind of in the low teens, maybe where the targets are coming. I feel like they can kind of balance the offense a bit where they're not dealing with a fairly immobile Russell Wilson and someone who is atrocious in the red zone. I think Jackson Dart, I'm really excited for him to have this opportunity. I loved him in college, and I think he landed in a really good spot. I know the offensive line is still sorting things out with some injury, but yeah, I mean, kind of like what Ryan said, like who is realistically going to trade away Nabers, especially now if the thought is there's some level of like mysterious optimism with Dart. So we'll see.
Yeah, and there's always the outside chance that they might put Jameson Winston in there, and then it's all
Yes.
up from there. He'll get 300 targets in the season.
The best case scenario is James gets in there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see what else we got on the board. All right, here's the poll that I put up, and it's a little difficult to see here. So, which of these couple things here are most likely to continue? And we got 4 different topics here. Most likely to continue. Travis Etienne remains a top 12 running back. Trey Tucker remains a top 24 wide receiver. Javonte Williams remains a top 12 running back. And finally, Quentin Johnson remains a top 24 receiver. Right now, Trey Tucker is wide receiver 3. Quentin Johnson, I think, is wide receiver 4. Wide receiver 12. And then I think Javonte Williams is in the top 12, and so is Travis Etienne currently. So what are your thoughts there, guys? What is one is most likely to continue rest of the season?
Well, which one? Javonte is top what?
Top 12 running for the running backs. It's both top 12 for
Okay.
Javonte and Travis Etienne, top 12, and both the receivers are to remain in the top 24.
I think 3 are extremely likely and are going to happen. Trey Tucker's doing what I don't trust.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it's probably Etienne.
Etienne,
But I think both running backs and Quentin Johnson are all going to produce.
yeah, assuming health, I think both the running backs for sure could definitely do that. They're getting a decent workload, especially Devontae Williams. He's getting pretty much the entire workload.
That's that Schottenheimer offense. He's just like, I'm gonna lean on the run no matter what. I don't care if we have Dak and they don't have CeeDee Lamb right now, but they have George Pickens dropping balls wide open. So
Absolutely.
And just hand it to the other team.
What about you, Chew? Where are you going with which one is most likely?
Yeah, I have some concerns in believing that the Johnston thing will really stick. So I was kind of between the running backs, but I'm probably gonna go Javonte. I mean, I was saying before the season even started that this could sincerely be his best season of his career. Couple, even further removed from the knee injuries that he dealt with. He's stepping in as the clear number one. No offense to Miles Sanders and company, and in an offense that is clearly, it was talked about that Schottenheimer wanted to establish the run, but they're showing it every single game that that's the case, and it maybe is a bit of an impediment for the passing game, but it's working wonders for Javonte to go out there and just play just an old school punishing brand of football.
Yeah, I think I'm with y'all on that too. Like running backs, especially if we're assuming health for these guys, with running backs, sometimes just remaining healthy can put you in the top 12 if you're getting a workload and you don't get injured. So as long as Javonte Williams is healthy, I think he still gets that workload. He's the one I'm going with as well to remain in that top 12. Ironically, the one that is currently winning the poll on the Discord channel is Quentin Johnston, remains a top 24 receiver with 64% of votes currently. And I think it has to relate to the targets he's getting, because he's getting equal amount of those three receivers are getting 20 plus targets. I think total on the season. They're all kind of in the same range. I think Keenan Allen has 28. I think Quentin has 24 and Ladd has 21. And if he
Quentin's getting the deep ones though.
he is getting the deep ones. Yep, he is getting the deep ones, and we know his hands sometimes fail him. So maybe eventually he'll fall out of favor. But right now he looks good, and he was drafted pretty high, so maybe he's going to have his breakout season, and he'll end up being in the top 24. All right, next topic. All right, this one was from Jeff Bell. I thought this was funny because he kind of inadvertently, was talking about Travis Hunter. He says, Parker Washington is good. I'm sorry you drafted a defensive back in the 5th round of your fantasy football league. Obviously, a shot at Travis Hunter there because he's playing a little bit more on defense than we expected, a little bit less on offense. Thoughts on Travis Hunter rest of the season, Ryan?
The same they were before the season. Shouldn't have been drafted fantasy high because we had no idea his role. We still don't know his role. And that passing game is even more of a mess than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
There's no parts of it.
Yeah.
I also don't want Parker Washington either. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I think that was just a way for him to sort of take a shot at Travis Hunter, saying that Parker Washington is essentially starting over him currently. What about you, Chew? What are your thoughts here on Travis Hunter rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it was in one of the interviews Cohen was talking about. It's Parker Washington, not word for word, but that's kind of the role that Parker Washington has, and they don't see Hunter like overtaking that role in the offense necessarily. But maybe that they would, I think there were some issues last game with Hunter in alignment and that sort of thing. So maybe making it a little simplified for Hunter and in the game plan and everything, so he can kind of just have a easily digestible role in the offense. But his snaps aren't crazy. The fact that I feel like they didn't even really know what they were really getting into this season. And I think you've seen a number of the Champ Bailey comes to mind, but there's plenty of the players where it's like they maybe are two-way in college or, for whatever reason, it's a great story. This kind of proves the point of you just got to pick a side. Mm-hmm. Pick a side and just play the side. And unfortunately, they kind of need help on both sides. But, at this point, are you just like, is this rookie season a wash because you're not going to pick a side? He's going to not really fully develop in either one, and he's not going to know what's going on. So I'm out on Hunter for this season at least.
Yeah, I'm definitely out on Hunter, and I was just like Ryan out before the season started. I have 0 shares of Travis Hunter. I want nothing to do with him.
I am out until I see a full season of him as a wide receiver.
Exactly.
Even if I hear in camp, I don't trust it until I see a full season of it.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, Sheila, the learning curve for any player coming from college to the NFL is huge. We see it every year where these rookies come in and they struggle to learn the playbook. They struggle to make their reads. So the fact that he's having to learn both the offense and the defense makes it twice as hard because he's going to have to learn both sides of the ball. And I just don't know how he can do it. He needs to commit to one Once he gets committed to one, and maybe he finally becomes second nature, he knows it. Then maybe he can start to dabble into the other one, whichever one he chooses. But I think he needs to choose one way or the other at this point. I think he's hurting himself if he's trying to do both still. All right, back to the wheel. All right, we got another this or that.
It's time for this or that.
This one is from Dynasty Zoltan on Facebook. On Twitter at Dynasty Zoltan FF. It's a Dynasty Superflex PPR league, and he wants to know: do you prefer Drake May or CJ Stroud and a 26 first round pick? Chew, what are your thoughts here?
Man, after CJ Stroud's tremendous freshman season, they've done everything wrong, and I think I heard someone talk about it. It was like the reverse Bryce Young treatment of they've tried to make things better for Bryce Young, and you've seen those glimpses of better play. It's the polar opposite with CJ Stroud, where they've just stripped out the O-line. They kind of surround him with some players to throw to, some players outside of just Nico Collins to throw to, but he has no time to get it to them. He also has just looked like it's really affected his game in terms of even when he has some time, it just seems like he's not quite as crisp in there. I don't know if that's just him losing confidence or what have you, but I like getting the first with Stroud, but I don't have a lot of confidence with Stroud in his current situation. And I'm trying to think of a quick enough pathway to where it gets that much better. And with Drake May, I think they have things settled with a head coach and a offensive coordinator. I think they're improving. They still have plenty of work to do on the offensive side. So I'm going May, and it's tough to turn down a first and a starting quarterback, but that's where we're at with Stroud.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
So with Stroud, you kind of mentioned like how it's hard seeing the path to him being great for fantasy. One, he's already not a mobile quarterback at all. So if you're not a mobile quarterback in fantasy, you have to be 5,000-yard passing, 30, 40 TDs to be relevant. Like you have to be Jared Goff efficiency in that kind of an offense. And Jared Goff's still in QB 10 right now in a perfect system. So we have to trust that his system's perfect. We have to trust that they someday get an offensive line for him. And I trust none of it. They're doing so bad by him. And when a quarterback gets hit that much, they're going to get happy feet. It's going to throw their career off. It's terrible. And the 26th first, whatever. I mean, next year's class, the quarterbacks are looking worse and worse the closer we get and farther in the season. And Drake May right now is not clicking yet. He's like still not there. He's still learning. His weapons aren't great, but he's still QB6 and producing fantasy because of his rushing upside, because he's making plays. I'm leaving May. I like Drake May there.
Yeah, that's a good call. And ironically, you mentioned Jared Goff, and I have Jared Goff and Drake May in my home dynasty league, and I've been starting Drake May over Jared Goff because of he gets the rushing upside. He doesn't, Goff doesn't really have that. I think he's not Lamar Jackson by any means, but he is getting, some rushing upside to give himself a solid floor. So yeah, I've been starting Drake May in my home league, and I'm going to sweep it. I'm going to go Drake May here as well. It's a little bit of a spoiler alert because I think this slide is on the wheel, so if it shows up later, we'll just skip it. But Ryan McDowell put out a tweet earlier this week. Stroud had 9 QB1 games as a rookie. He's had 2 since. That's pretty telling about how bad it's been in Houston. He had 9 in his rookie season, and none of them since week 4 of last year. So it's been bad. It's gotten bad fast. Yeah, give me Drake May all day in this scenario for sure. All right, let's see. We got time for a couple more here. All right, this one's from Chris O'Brien. He's talking about Travion Henderson. After Ramondre Stevenson and Gibson both fumbled a combined 3 times last week, it was the Henderson show. He didn't do that much with it, but he saw a career high in touches. Essentially, he's saying wheels up on Travion Henderson. And I just wanted to get y'all thoughts on Travion Henderson and what do you think he's capable of doing in this offense if they can finally give him the full workload or at least a larger share of the pie that he's been getting so far. Ryan, I'll go to you first.
So the rookie running backs are starting to come around. It's nice to see. He's not the only one, but like I think he could be a solid RB2 here on out with upside. There's still again a lot we kind of talked about today. A lot of questions still, and that offense is still figuring out who it is with all of its new parts. But with what happened in the fumbles last week, it opens it up for him. I like him going forward, and I think it's only going to improve the farther in this career. There might be games he disappears. There could be some frustrating things, but I think overall, at the end of the year, you're going to look like that was a good rookie year for him, and I'm glad I had him in fantasy.
Yeah,
Not when we took him at RB15, but I think he's having a very good year. People are going to be quietly happy.
agreed. Chew, what you got for Travion Henderson?
Yeah, I think barring, say, Ramondre and company just completely imploding and just losing all trust of the staff, I'm hard pressed to think that their role disappears. I feel like that's kind of how they were designing this running back room because even after getting Henderson immediately starting the season, you saw Ramondre's involvement in that offense and what they wanted to do. So again, I'm hard pressed to think that Henderson is going to usurp uh, Stevenson and Gibson like consistently through the rest of the year. But like Ryan was saying, like he could very well just disappear from game to game. But there's going to be, I think, enough games, especially as the offensive line and everything is improving and Drake May's clicking with the offense, that he can have some boom games, especially from a PPR standpoint, catching passes. So.
Yeah, this isn't the Patriots of old when you fumbled as a running back, you might be cut the next day, right? Because that's kind of how Belichick used to run things. So I could see there being a little bit of forgiveness for Ramondre, but fumbling at to the 2-yard line going into the end zone, that's a pretty unforgivable sin right there. So Travion Henderson did get more of a workload going forward after that, and he has the PPR upside. He's also one of the few rookie running backs to come out of college that's really good in pass pro. So he will be in there on third downs. There was a lot of clips that I saw of him in college really stepping up and blocking linebackers. So he still has that ability as well. So he's not the guy that's coming off the field on third down and putting Gibson in there. He will be in there on third down as well. So with that said, I think his PPR upside is great. And if he gets more carries from Ramondre, so be it. But I do think he's going to have, like Ryan said, a pretty good rookie season once it's all said and done. All right. Next topic. Talking about Chris Olave. Chris Olave leads the entire league with targets with 37. However, he's 36th in receiving yards with 165. And it's Underdog that's tweeting this out, and they say elite PPR scam. So essentially, he's getting a bunch of empty targets. And I just want your thoughts on Olave. We'll go to you first on this one, Shu. Can Olave turn these targets into some fantasy value, or do you think he's stuck in this with this quarterback situation?
Well, I know we saw the weird season last year with Wanderell Robinson having that many targets, and just if you weren't playing PPR, you wouldn't even have him on your radar. I think Olave would not quite be that type of story, but I think this Saints offense is pretty anemic, kind of what we expected. Regardless of if it was going to be Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck, this is just not an exciting offense necessarily. I mean, even Alvin Kamara, who we may talk about in a little bit, has not really been getting the touches that he's used to. But I'm good with Olave. I think it's good that we're at least seeing a healthy Olave getting targets. I think that was the biggest concern coming into this year was with a lot of his concussion history and everything. Can he, knock on wood, make it through the full season? No concussions or, not being hobbled by any sort of injury that allows him to stay on the field and produce. And they're at least, they're consistently looking his way. So it's not great that, like you're saying, the targets are there, but the yardage and overall output after that is not great. But I think that's more of an indictment of the Saints offense as a whole and not quite as much. He can only do so much. So I think he's definitely someone I still like, but, he's upside certainly capped.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Olave?
We'll get a long-term hold for fantasy. I think we've got a little bit down on him. He's actually, like we were talking about buy people should buy now for the future. He's somebody you can actually buy for the future, and he may not produce great this year because they are kind of a mess. And Spencer Rattler's not that great. There's not a lot on that offense. You're gonna see a couple of big games though out of him because with that many targets, some are bound to connect. and there's going to be some big games, there's going to be some disappears. He's worth a flex. He's worth it as flex now. But I think he has the talent to be more in the future once that offense settles down and they get over being one of the most poorly cap managed teams we've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely. The cap has been playing a big part in what they're doing. Sometimes I don't understand where they're going with some of the stuff. They signed Kamara to a long-term contract, and he's essentially like 30 now, I believe, and towards the end of his career probably. And they're signing to a long-term. I don't know what the Saints are doing, but back to Chris Olave. Yeah, the targets you like, right? We talk about
That's
volume
great.
is king. Volume is king in fantasy, even if it's inefficient volume. If you get volume, it's volume, and I think eventually it sort of evens itself out. He gets some more yards to go along with those targets, maybe a few touchdowns thrown in there. So I do think Olave is fine. I don't know if he's going to ever be a top 12 receiver with this offense. It'll be a year or two before they can get that point. But as far as this year, I think Olave is fine for a flex position for sure, and I think that's where he was being drafted anyway. All right, back to the wheel. All right, this is just a fun thing I wanted to talk about. NFL Rumors, which is not even a real account; it's like a spoof account. But they put up a thing about Breece Hall is a name to watch at the trade deadline, and they mentioned the Cardinals being a team to watch. I know Breece Hall's name's been tossed around quite a bit in trade talks, even before the season started. I'm gonna go to you first first Q on this one with Breece Hall. One, do you think he does get traded before the trade deadline? And if it's not the Cardinals, is there another team that you like better?
I wouldn't be terribly shocked if the Jets did this. I mean, there was so much stuff going in the offseason of, we love Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. I really think, if we had to move on for Breece Hall, if we got the right deal, then, we could split the backfield with the other two younger guys. And I mean, I know Breece Hall, I think, is in the final year of his rookie deal.
I believe so.
So I guess there's some consideration there of, all right, if they really don't want to keep him, someone's getting a rental, and if it's a team that thinks it's worthwhile, or if they think they're going to keep, would like to re-sign him after the fact, then, why not get him now? It's been weird how they've used him. I mean, 50-60% of the snaps. He's gotten most of the touches, I think like 70% or so. But they really have involved these other two guys. And I kind of want him to get traded. I think he's tremendously underappreciated. I know he hasn't, blown the doors off this season thus far with the opportunities he's gotten. But Cardinals will be interesting. Certainly makes sense with James Conner going down. And I think I don't have a sincere belief in Trey Benson being anything close to what James Conner has been in terms of a volume he can maintain. And certainly not the same skill set, very different skill set as a running back. So I think Cardinals would be interesting. I'm trying to think of, I don't know what other teams, if there's teams that are, maybe better at this point offensively. Trading for a running back like that in season seems kind of odd, but I think Cardinals would make a lot of sense just with the timing of the injury. So,
yeah, I was trying to think of teams while you were talking that would make sense, and teams that popped in my head aren't teams that you would really want him to go to because of their offense isn't good. But one that popped up is the Houston Texans.
No.
We don't want him to go.
I don't want anybody behind that offensive line. No.
Agreed. I was just thinking from an NFL standpoint that it would make sense, but we don't want him to go there in fantasy. I'd rather than just stay a Jet at that point.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? What are your thoughts on Breece Hall being traded and potentially where he might land?
Arizona's awesome. I mean, James Conner's plotted to 1,000 scrimmage yards for the better part of half a decade there. And he's nowhere near the electric player. I like that as a landing spot for him. Commanders are an option still.
Yeah, good call.
Their running back situation isn't the greatest. I know they got rid of somebody. Bears could be an option because there's been some issues with Swift. People don't really love him there. Yeah, I like those ones for him.
Yeah, I'm going to throw one team out that we always want to throw out, and it never seems to work out. What about the Chiefs making a move? We always want to put a running back in the Chiefs offense, and it rarely ever works out. But I've seen that thrown around as well. Ryan, what do you think of the Chiefs landing spot?
I'm so tired of hearing about players going to the Chiefs.
Me too.
How many players, every time a player goes there for fantasy, they just disappoint us.
Yep.
If it happens, I am going to rip somebody off so bad in the trade for all Brees Hall things. I'm going to get 3 firsts for him plus.
Yes.
It's going to be just epically diabolical taking advantage of people in trades if that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's funny how, we want to just put people on the Chiefs and expect them to produce, and it hasn't happened. It's like, oh, he's the next Tyreek Hill in this offense. Nope, he's not. They did that with Sky Moore. They did it with Kadarius Toney when they traded for him. It seems like they're always trying to find that guy, and everybody, oh, he's going to the Chiefs. But when you look at it, it's Travis Kelce. He's been the only consistent there since Tyreek Hill has left, and that's the only one you really want a piece of.
Hey, and all they needed to wait was for Tyquan Thornton. So
Yeah, exactly. Now it's the Tyquan Thornton. He was one of the hot waiver wire ads this week, so we'll see how long that lasts for sure. All right, we spent enough time on Brees Hall. Let's do one more topic.
By the way, Braylon Allen would be awesome. It'd be awesome for him too.
Yeah.
Agreed. This is the tweet I mentioned earlier with CJ Stroud, Ryan McDowell. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip that one, and we're gonna do another.
We don't want him in fantasy. Move on.
All right. Speaking of the Chiefs and running backs, how quickly can we get Alvin Kamara on the Chiefs? Is this currently working on this? This is from Andy Brian, so not somebody that to be taken lightly. He's a big fantasy name, but again, putting anybody on the Chiefs has never seemed to work out. However, if it was Alvin Kamara, I'm a little more interested than I am, I think, than Brees Hall, only because I think he fits that offense. He almost would fit them perfectly because I don't think he's ever even had a 1,000-yard rushing season in his career.
He's not.
He's basically a wide receiver at this point, and I think he would fit with that offense more than Brees Hall would. What about you, Chew? What are your thoughts on Kamara going to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes tremendous sense. He clearly, he's made plenty of money in New Orleans. Like it was mentioned about him getting that extension. I still don't understand. I guess it's just continuing to push money down and down and down the road. But the stop sign's coming up pretty quick. And I think they, at this point, should certainly cut their losses, kind of build around the ones that they have and want to keep for the long term. Chris Olave obviously included. So Kamara, I think, would be a nice different element as currently, despite his entire career being just a PPR monster, 90-ish target guy each year, more or less, when he's healthy. So send him to the Chiefs. That at least gives them something other than Kelce, spike away from Tyquan Thornton, that single game of whatever, 16 targets to Hollywood Brown. I know Rashid Rice will be back soon. Xavier Worthy, for whatever he's worth at this point, is going to be back. But they need something else to really give them some sort of push throughout the season to actually, make the playoffs and make a concerted effort to actually make it to a Super Bowl, which I think is in serious doubt this year.
Yeah, the way they've been playing doesn't look good for sure. Ryan, you want to see Kamara in a Chiefs uniform?
No. Copy paste. The trade block button is getting hit so fast on Sleeper. If I have Kamara and he goes to the Chiefs, in theory, it's great. For real football, it's great. For fantasy, that offense goes through him, and he's the inconsistent part of it. He's not going to do that much better anywhere else because the Chiefs still have a committee. They're still going to use Pacheco because they love him. They love how he blocks. They love how physical he is. The passing game's so spread out. And yes, he'd be used in it, but not as consistently as he would for the Saints because Mahomes is incredible at pushing the ball downfield and finding open receivers in different spots. It's just he's not going to get the volume there that you get the Saints. So again, trading his ass as soon as that happens.
Fair enough. Yeah, that would definitely raise his trade value for sure. So I think I'm with you on that one. I was a big supporter of Alvin Kamara this offseason. I have Alvin Kamara in my Scott Fishbowl. I talked about him in multiple podcasts. So far, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great either. And a move to the Chiefs would spike his value to the point that I think he'd be worth trading away. All right. Well, that wraps up the fantasy roulette wheel. Next thing we're going to do is our prop bets of the week.
Prop bet of the week.
All right. The way this works, I create a theme each week, and we're going to build a 3-leg pick'em on Underdog. But before you do that, I want to just tell you about Underdog. Make your calls, hit your picks, and win big with Underdog Pick'ems. Sign up using promo code GF2 and get up to $1,000 in bonus bucks. That's free money to start picking and winning today. This week's theme is surprising top 10 players through 3 weeks. So players that are currently in the top 10 in fantasy that nobody saw coming. And Chew, you get the first one here. Daniel Jones at Rams, higher or lower than 239.5 passing and rushing yards. Pass and rushing yards, not receiving yards. I have it written down as receiving, but obviously not receiving yards. So
You know
pass
what?
yards, 239.5.
That changes my answer then. I actually thought it was receiving, and I was like, do they know some sort of trick play that's going to happen? Which would be funny if that's the reason why this flips. All right. So if it's that plus rushing, I'm actually going to flip this, and I am going to say that I would take the over. So looking at how the games have gone thus far, the first 3 weeks for him, strictly passing, I'm not even saying rushing. Dolphins, 272 passing yards. Broncos, 316 passing yards. And then Titans, 228 passing yards. Rams have been pretty stingy on defense thus far, although, I mean, the first 2 games were the Texans and the Titans, so say of that what you will. And then, of course, last week was the Eagles, which was still only 226 passing yards. But as we know, the Eagles like to do it on the ground as much as they can until they absolutely have to pass. So I'm hard-pressed to think that Daniel Jones' wheels are falling off just yet. I think he's finally found his place in an offense that collectively is the best group of talent and cohesion he's had at this point in his career. So if we're going, the passing and the rushing, I'm slamming the over of the 239.5.
Yeah, you said his lowest pass total was what? You said 228. Is that right?
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're combining that with the rush yards as well, he had 316 against the Broncos. Yeah. Obviously Broncos I think are a better defense than the Rams. So I like that as well. I like going over 239. All right, Ryan, you get another top 12 running back currently. Javonte Williams versus the Packers, higher or lower than 69.5 rushing and receiving yards combined?
Trying to take him over on the year. The Packers gave up 94 to Judkins last week. Shows are going to happen. He has been getting the ball filtered through him all year. They don't have CeeDee Lamb. It means he's going to get even more volume because they have less weapons. So I think he's going to smash that.
The line did move up to 73.5. So you think you still go higher with that one?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll stick with that. So yeah, the line moved.
64 was his lowest rushing total this year.
Yeah.
Just rushing. And he's gotten, and his targets have gone up since week 1 when he had that 60, or when he had that.
Yep, I agree. I think higher is the way to go on that one as well. And then I'm going to wrap it up here. I have the surprising Quentin Johnson at the Giants, higher or lower than 54.5 receiving yards. And I'm going to have to go higher. I mean, Quentin Johnson, like we talked about earlier, has been getting the targets. And he's one of those players really on one target could get that 54.5 yards on one big play. He is a downfield threat. And they've been throwing the ball downfield to him. So if he's going to get, 5, 6, 7 targets, I don't think there's any way that he can't go over 54.5. And he is playing a Giants team that, quite honestly, hasn't been very good, at least in the secondary. They've been good up front, but on the back end, they have not been. So 54.5 is the line. Let me find Quentin Johnson here and get that put in. Quentin Johnson, and the line actually went up a little bit to 57.5 since when I last put it in, but I'm going to still go with the higher on this one. And then I'm going to recap it. Daniel Jones, higher than 239.5 pass and rush yards. Javonte Williams, higher than 73.5 rush and receiving yards. And Quentin Johnson, higher than 57.5 receiving yards. Let me put my $5 on there. It'll pay out $30 if we win. So far this season, we are 0 for 3. We came very close to winning last week, and then all of a sudden in the second half, Jalen Hurts decided he wanted to throw the ball too much. We had the under, I think, 27 attempts. He ended up with 32 thanks to that second half. If we had hit that, we would have hit all of our legs last week. So close. Hopefully this week we can hit it. All right. The moment that I know Ryan's been waiting for, it is time for the Forgotten Fantasy Player.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right. For those that have been watching the show for a while, we've been doing this segment for 10 years. And this is the first time that Ryan will be able to give his Forgotten Fantasy Player for us to guess. So, Ryan, take it away.
Probably the easiest one to start with. So this player
CJ Stroud.
was
I'm just kidding.
you got it on the right thing. So he was a former first round running back pick.
Okay, former first round running back. There's a lot of those.
There's a lot. He was a 1,000-yard rusher on 3 different teams.
Ooh, that's a pretty interesting stat. Okay.
10-year career in the league, and he averaged double-digit fantasy points in 8 of the 10 years.
Wow. And this guy's forgotten. He's not like a Hall of Famer.
No.
Right.
And big bruising back, 235 pounds.
1,000 yards on 3 different teams, double-digit fantasy points on 8 of his 10 seasons. Oh, I'm drawing a blank, Chew. You got any guesses?
Honestly, I don't. I'm trying to think of the bruising, but I'm trying to think of who would have maintained it for 8 of the 10 years.
The 10 years.
All AFC teams.
All AFC teams. Okay. Why can't I not think of anybody? The only bruising back that comes to mind is Natron Means, but I know he only played for the Chargers, and he definitely did not have 1,000 yards.
In college, he was teammates with 2 other running backs who were also Pro Bowlers.
Oh.
So he was one of 3 Pro Bowl running backs on his college team.
On his college team, and they were teammates in college.
In college, all 3 in the backfield same time.
AFC.
He was on 4 teams, by the way. All 4 of the AFC, 3 he had 1,000 yards for.
Rudy Johnson.
No.
I was thinking.
Oh, so I was like, oh my god, you get that right?
Yeah, I was thinking Cincinnati and Patriots, but I couldn't think of who the third team would have been. I was like, maybe he was the one. Crap. Who else? Curtis Martin. No, Curtis Martin had way better years than that.
This is the one that should give it away. So his final game in college. Again, he was a first-round pick. His final game in college, which was the national championship, he tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL, and still ended up being a first-round pick and rushed for 1,100 yards his rookie season.
Todd Gurley? No, he played the NFC.
No.
It did not give it away for me because I don't know nothing about college football, but I'm trying to think of players that came into the NFL.
It was in the national championship that he tore his ACL. He tore everything.
Oh my god! Why can't I think of this? I know I'm gonna kick myself as soon as you give me the name.
Do you want the teams?
Yeah, give us one of the teams.
He was drafted by the Bills.
Marshawn Lynch. No.
He didn't take. Okay.
And he went to Cal, which never went to a natty.
Drafted by the Bills. Fred Taylor. Or Fred Jackson, I mean.
After the Bills, he went to the Ravens and then the Broncos.
Oh my god. Chew, help me out here. I'm struggling.
The more you say, I don't feel any better. Like I keep hearing, I'm like, these are all should be helpful. I'm trying to.
All right, so we got the teams: Bills, Ravens.
Power.
Rookie year was 04.
Okay.
Broncos.
4.
Big bruising back. I know the podcast people are listening to this probably screaming like they know the answer to this question. And for some reason, me and Chew are just drawing a blank here.
I'm just trying to think even of just the big bruising back that wasn't.
Oh,
Marshall.
I know his name, but I can't think of it right now. I just got it. It just came to me, and I can't think of his name. It's gonna because I remember him as a Raven. That's how I remember him. I didn't really remember him as a Buffalo Bill, but I think that's where he came from.
So he was his 2 college teammates that were Pro Bowlers were Frank Gore and Clinton Portis.
Forsett? No, he's not bruising. He's way smaller than 245.
I know. I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name right now? I know as soon as you say it, it's killing me.
Do we have a surrender?
Willis McGahee.
Yep.
Yes, I knew it. I couldn't think of his name. I was like, I know it. I don't remember him as a Bronco though. I didn't remember. I remember him mostly as a Raven.
Yeah.
He had 2 years with the Broncos. One he had 1199, the other 731.
Nice, good one, Ryan. God, that one stumped the hell out of me.
You waited this long to pick a good one though.
Yeah, that was 10 years in the waiting.
That was the easy one on the ones I had picked lined up.
Wow, I'm glad you went with the easy one because man, I wanted to do the hard ones. All right, great show, fellas, and a great forgotten fantasy player for sure. I like that. Willis McGahee. He hasn't even. I don't think he's been brought up on our show in the 10 years we've been doing this. I don't believe. All right, fellas, that wraps the show up. We'll go around the room one time and give us your Twitter handle and anything you might be working on. We'll go to you first, Chew.
You can follow me on Twitter at Father Dynasty and check out fatherdynasty.com, which is the Substack. So it's the Faux Football Substack, the Faux Football Podcast, all of which is on there. And got the weekly article that usually comes out Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the weekly podcast that comes out Friday, Saturday to kind of get you ready for the Sunday slate of games.
Good stuff. Ryan?
Find me here Wednesdays. Find me over at the Rookie Big Board with the Dynasty Big Board podcast.
Good stuff. As always, guys, you can find me here Wednesday night. You can find me Friday night doing our DFS show with Tim and Gerson. Be sure to check out the Fantasy Football Hall of Fame, fantasyhof.goingfor2.com. Put some time and effort into that, and we have some new content coming out soon. We have our 6 players that were inducted into the Hall of Fame up currently, so you can go check out some fun facts about them, their career stats, some articles written about them, a lot of cool stuff over there. So go check it out. Again, that is fantasyhof.goingfor2.com. For Ryan, for Chew, I'm Geoff, and we will see y'all next week.